Welcome, everyone. We have Ed here today, and he's going to talk a little bit more how he got six-pack lean with the Kinetic method. Before we get started and dive into it, Ed, can you share a little bit more about yourself, your lifestyle, work schedule, so people get a full understanding of your situation, and then we can go in.
Sure. I'm a CPA, so I sit a lot during the day. Just just part of the profession, and that occupies a good amount of my time. So being able to have something to help focus me getting out of my desk is really beneficial for me. Besides that, I enjoy music, and that's a lot of fun, but still not a tremendous amount of exercise. So all of my things I do from a work and in a passion standpoint don't involve the exercise as much, but I really enjoy exercising. It's just for me where I was at, it was more of a direction standpoint, and that's where I feel I was. I wasn't. I wasn't progressing, and I actually felt like I was going backwards when I first saw, your program and the opportunities I felt were available there.
Beautiful. Where did you begin before you started the program? Like age, weight, and a little bit of what you were going through?
So I was what 185, 60, and just felt like I was getting rounder. Um, and and uh, and just knew I needed to make a change. And it was just a matter of me committing to actually start that process and having a process that really worked for me.
And did you work like with trainers or programs? Yeah, have you done any programs in the past for that to help you out there?
I had a trainer many years ago that was helpful, but since then, I've really done it on my own, and I've kind of come in and out of different diet plans that have been successful, but just for the period that I was in them, not more so much from a long term perspective. I've done keto for 3 months, which was great, but you can't sustain yourself on keto forever, and you tend to just gain weight whenever you come off of it. I've done other diets for different health reasons, and those have been beneficial. But still, with those, the problem is you start losing muscle mass. So none of those things really work for one, a lifestyle, and what I wanted from a long-term perspective. So that's what I was really looking for is what's something sustainable is still you can still enjoy life. You don't feel like you're, you know, in prison or something. Um, and you can continue to grow and get better.
Yeah, it makes sense if you can drop the weight, but keeping it off and not losing muscle, right, is a whole nother story. When you look back at, the various diets that you tried, would you say the main thing that got in the way there that had you, regress was hunger, or what happened? Like, why did it stop working?
Um, I don't think that hunger was the reason. I think it was more of I got tired of it. Um, just too rigid. So I felt like it worked. It's just is it sustainable? And then for some of it, is it healthy for a long period of time? So at some point, you feel like your body almost tells you you need to make a change more than hunger for me.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. If it's too restrictive, then kind of like a kid, you say you can't have this and toy, but you can play with the others. Well, now exactly the toy you take away, your kid wants it, right? And so if it's super restrictive and you can't have foods or certain foods are cut out, then it would make it just much harder.
It made it definitely more challenging, especially when you travel.
So what have you then decide to give the kinetic method a shot?
I've been seeing your ads for a bit, um, and you and I had gone back and forth, and I had thought about it and thought about it, and finally just woke up and said, okay, it's time, and reached out and began the program.
What was it that day when you woke up, you reached out, you said, "Hey, now I'm gonna do it." Did you look in the mirror, you weren't happy, or what was it something?
I'm sure that the mirror was a driver, as it probably is for many people, but I would say definitely that the mirror was a driver that made me reach back out to you, and say, hey, let's get going.
Well, I'm glad you did because yeah, as we just discussed before this call yesterday, you had a fantastic presentation for the group around your success. Can you share a little bit more with everyone listening around the results that you had with or you have with the kinetic method?
Sure. So when we started out, I was about 185. I don't recall what my body fat was. It was decently high. And with the kinetic method, there, in my mind, a couple major components. One is the health piece, from where are you from a blood work standpoint? What changes do you need to make to be able to get them perfectly in line? Which for me really is important from a longevity standpoint. And then the workouts as well, and also the food. So combining all three of those, is the part for me that really worked. So at the initial phase for me was to cut fat. So I went through and followed the food steps, the workouts, and the supplements to be able to pull me down. And I got down to about 17% body fat. I may have gone down to 15, but 17 was the last DEXA that I did, um, which was down to a really good number from where I had started from. And my results get measured about every 4 months. And they were very, very surprised because my bone density actually increased as opposed to staying flat or decreasing, which is typically what happens over time. But mine had increased over well over the last period. So that was a big surprise for everyone, and very good for me as well. And then it's just decreased the amount of fat that I've got on my body, and I feel healthier. I definitely know I'm stronger. And now I've switched over just this week from the cut phase to the build phase, which I'm excited about that as well.
You should. Now the fun begins. And yeah, it's a common belief that, hey, as I get older, bone density goes down. And while some of it can be age related, most of it is lifestyle related. And I think your numbers are the perfect evidence that if you take good care of yourself, not only will you look better, but that area as well has massive potential for improvement. And I think even your labs, right? Like when we looked at them recently, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think these were the best results you ever had.
They are, yeah, they went through the roof. So everything was in alignment.
Fantastic. And you said that DEXA scan 17%, but that was like before you got this lean. I think now you're most likely around 12%, so much, much leaner than before.
Yeah, there was still a good, I don't know, probably 60 days afterwards that I was still doing a cut. So that
Yes.
makes sense to me. I was just happy to be to hit that number, and then the rest of it was just gravy for me.
So if someone is listening and they're a little bit on the fence, I know initially you were as well. We went back and forth a few times over, I think it was over 1.5 years or so. What would you tell them? The guy that's a little bit skeptical, isn't sure if he should do it or not.
If you have the right process, it's going to work for you. So it's really a matter of, are you committed to doing something, just like with anything else? So if you follow a bad format, of course, it's going to be tough to get results. But if you've got a program that works and measures what you're doing and you want to see results, this is a great one for you. The, part of the process is measuring where you are um, on a weekly basis with pictures and seeing those changes over time. It's rewarding, and it also it's healthy because you're measuring it. Just like everything else with the program, you're measuring it. What you can measure, you can manage. So that gives you room for improvement. If you're just kind of out there winging it on your own or not doing anything, which is kind of what I was doing, it's hard to improve. And if you don't have somebody there from a coach perspective that can look at it and identify what the problems are, then you're not going to be in the same situation either. When we look at my labs, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a chemist. That's not what I do. Um, but I work with you that understands all of this and can say, okay, we need to make changes here, 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 and here. Recent thing with my last blood work, my hemoglobin was up, right? Well, that's not to a level that's not really good. And it was a simple fix of going and donating blood to fix it. Well, I would never have known that. But that's a potential health issue that had going on that was easily remedied that I'm not going to know and I can look great with working out, but I'm not going to know that because I don't understand how everything works from a chemistry standpoint.
Yeah, I think you make a good point here with you can look great on the outside and think, hey, I'm fit, I don't look that bad, I'm healthy, but what do the numbers say? A few years ago, when I got my labs checked, or one of the tests that I did a few years ago where I got my labs checked, I had a fatty liver. It's like, well, how? I'm six-pack lean, where's that fatty liver? And then I saw I was missing, nutrient in my diet. And once I added that nutrient in, the liver fat just crawled away, so to say. So, yeah, it's a very good point. Vanity can equal health, but sometimes it doesn't, and the numbers speak for themselves.
And I think it's easy to overdo some areas too, thinking that's going to improve you, and it may be a detriment to you, but you just don't know. Or you could be doing anything else right, but you're missing another component that's going to help you get to where you want to be. So, through the program, I've seen people in lots of different situations, some that are friends of mine that needed to lose quite a bit, and they've lost quite a bit, through the program, and others that came in kind of more in the middle of the road that have advanced a lot as well. So through the spectrum, it really depends upon what do you want, and if you want to feel something like you want to feel healthier, you want to be stronger, you want to get more out of life and possibly get a longer life, or at least more enjoyable while you're here. It's something that works.
One thing I'm curious about is you talked a lot about the results with your health and your body composition. How did the physical transformation impact your business or your work performance?
I do get comments online when I'm doing Zoom calls um, from some people, especially clients. So does that impact my business directly? No, it's probably more of an ego thing a bit. But from an energy perspective, I definitely have more of that than before, and more focus. I feel, and part of that is just being on a regiment and just doing things on a more consistent basis gives you the fuel to be able to continue to do better.
Yeah, I always find it interesting when business owners say, yeah, let me focus more on work and then I can open up more of my time with my health. But I think it should be the opposite. When you invest a few hours a week, really dedicated focused time, then the ROI is just infinite with your business as well. Because as you said, energy's up, focus is up, clients notice. And I think it's also a signal of trust. Like just looking at you, you're 61, you have a really solid trained arms. People see like, hey, this guy's taking good care of himself. Well, he most likely will take good care of my taxes there, right? Just a subconscious message. It may not be true, but that's the
Right.
signal there where if you're like an extra 100 pound overweight, the same version of you say, that guy, what if he passes away? What if this? What if that? There's just that conversation that goes on subconsciously in the mind.
My dad told me that your health is your most valuable asset. And that really has resonated with me. And he was right.
Yeah, there was one guy that made a comment that I thought was very powerful. He said, you can have 1,000 problems, but when you have when your health is on a decline or something along those lines, then you only have one problem, right?
Right. Very true.
Good. Well, Ed, thank you very much for jumping on today. This is very good and helps people see, behind the scenes on your success, and also that, hey, this guy 61 looks like a 27-year-old MMA fighter, as Adam commented in the group, and he can do it and he can crush it. And I think it also inspires a lot of men, 45, 50 plus, even 60 plus, to make a dramatic change.
Well, thanks for all you've done for me. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you.